just behind that, with Dan Gore, number 20, on pole position, with Chris Hutchinson, 178 alongside him, and then 110 Harry Heaton, and 193 Mike Evans behind him. Everybody now coming into position on the grid. A very full grid it's going to be indeed once we get underway. The grid marshals just sorting people out onto their correct starting slots. We've got all of the Supersports already in position. Now we're going to line up the 420Rs. The Supersports delivering about 140 brake horsepower. The 420Rs about 175 brake horsepower, and that's with the 2-litre Ford Duratec engine in the 420Rs, and the Supersports will theoretically not quite lap as quickly, but they are doing here at Spa this weekend. So the rest of the field still making their way out of the chicane. They're going to tail all the way from the start line all the way back to the chicane, I think. So a massive grid of Supersports and 420Rs. A wonderful 30-minute race in the offing, and it will be started in just about a minute's time. I was talking about Henry Heaton and Mike Evans. They're on the second row for the Z420Rs. Then we've got Ben Tuck, number 62, with Tim Dickens, who is the championship leader at the moment, starting on the third row in number 144 of the 420Rs. And then Christian Sharuta and Alistair Weaver, the next cars up. Back of the field, they're just forming up. So the guys at the front have been there now for 2 or 3 minutes, waiting for the lights to switch on. The red lights will switch on. There's no green lights as such, so the red lights switch on, then they go off, and away we go for half an hour worth of Caterham racing. And then it's the Lamera Cup to look forward to. So, up at the front, Danny Winstanley on the inside in the green car. Red lights are on. The red car outside of him is Jack Sales. Coming from the inside, Lee Wiggins there, getting a great start as they head up towards La Source. I think it might have been Lee Wiggins who got the best of the good starts. A bad start there from number 52, who does Martin Pratt. Didn't quite engage everything and ended up going slowly, but he's got away now, and will be trying to make up ground through the field as the leaders make their way down the hill through Eau Rouge, and then up Radion, the Kemmel Straight, all the way as fast as you can, as long as you can, and then last of the late breakers onto the brakes for the right sequence, which is Les Combes. The 30-minute race then underway, and we'll tell you who gets to the top of the Kemmel Straight first. My money, I think, will probably be on Danny Winstanley, although Lee Wiggins made a great start. It's Lee Wiggins, in fact, who's got up there. So Lee Wiggins in the lead of the race at the moment. William Smith is in second place. Andre Sinclair in third. And Danny Winstanley only in fourth place at the moment then. So pole position, and thus far, hasn't yet been the place to be. Now, is that a yellow flag being waved? No, it's not. It's a marshal just holding a yellow flag, but I can see a yellow flashing light, so there might be an incident. I did see rescue units heading off as they started. The timing screen doesn't tell me when we do have yellow flags, so I can't give you any further information than that, but I can see marshals holding safety car boards down on the exit of the S's, so I think there was an incident, and it might actually have been up at La Source, if not down at the Eau Rouge Radion complex. But Lee Wiggins then, having got it off the line extremely well, surprised me by getting past Danny Winstanley then, and elbowing Danny down. It may well have been who's not come through. I can't actually tell who's not come through because my screen is full and we've only got 46 cars on the screen. Something more than that actually participating in the race. What will this screen tell me if I use this one? We can get some live timing on that link there. 47 cars being shown there, and the cars then making their way now at reduced pace, with the yellow flags being shown around the circuit and the safety car board being shown. And when we get a shot on the closed circuit TV pictures of the cause for the safety car, then I'll let you know, but at the moment can't tell you, as the closed circuit TV pictures cycle round. Now we're being shown the cars as they come into the chicane for the first time, but still under race neutralised situation. Lee Wiggins, William Smith, Danny Winstanley first, second and third. Andre Sinclair seems to have lost out there under the safety car, but he's in fourth place. Anthony Barnes fifth, Paul Donkins sixth, Jack Brown seventh, Stephen Nuttall eighth, as they sweep through then. And yes, there is something actually at the La Source. It's up at the hairpin, and I think it's on the inside of the hairpin. We'll see on the closed circuit TV in a second, but cars being signed to move to their left, which indicates something is off on the track on the inside of La Source. And as I say, we'll have that on the closed circuit TV screens in a minute, and then we'll be able to see how long this safety car might be going to last, and when we're going to be able to get underway with the race. Certainly the pace has been substantially reduced as a result of whatever it is that has happened. And yes, there's in fact the whole of the inside of the circuit has been blocked, and cars having in fact to go off the circuit to the left-hand side to use the escape road on the left-hand side, because the whole of the track's been blocked too. So there's certainly a car which has dropped a lot of oil, and so this could be fairly lengthy. Certainly we could have a lap or two behind the safety car whilst this incident. Two cars involved. I can't actually identify either of them, I'm afraid, but can try and work out which ones they are by a process of elimination, I suppose. Certainly the information that we're being given not telling us that if we go through here, and that's stopped as well. 58, 23. John Byrne has gone through. John Byrne has made up a lot of ground from the 7th row of the grid to come through in 10th place. And who else has gone missing? 18, 44, 50. So I think most of the Supersport cars have got through. I just wonder whether it was a similar problem to the one we had with the earlier race, in that the faster of the 420 cars are actually going more rapidly through La Source than the slower of the Supersports, and that's where the incidents can then happen. Number 50, 22, certainly the tail enders seem to have got through all right. Yeah, so 37, 6, 6, yeah, so up amongst the front runners from the 270R, 420Rs, Dan Gore came through in 3rd place, Tim Dickens had a good start and came through in 2nd place. Chris Hutchinson was leading the class from the outside of the front row of the grid. Henry Heaton had lost a lot of ground. He was 3rd on the grid, but has only come through 10th on the road. And so the other car, Mike Evans, has managed to get through all right. 62, Ben Tuck. 62, Ben Tuck might have been our casualty, actually. I think I think 62, Ben Tuck might have been one of those two cars that was involved in the incident. Christian Sharuta has come through all right, but certainly Ben Tuck seems to have been involved in that incident at La Source. I think there were two cars involved. Mike Evans certainly wasn't one of them. be the Roy Gray. Yeah, well, it might have been Roy Gray, number 26. Going down the list of 420Rs. Yes, I think we'll probably settle for Roy Gray then, number 26, as the other car that was involved, but certainly one of them seemed to have done a lot of damage and left a lot of liquid down on the track as well. So we are still circulating behind the safety car. 10 minutes, that's an exaggeration, 8.5 minutes of this race have gone. It'll be 10 minutes by the time they get through at the end of their second lap behind the safety car. So Roy Gray, Ben Tuck of course was third in the championship coming into this round in the Supersports Championship, and so Ben Tuck then for the Supersports class looks like he's not going to be able to score any points in this one. Just realising that the screen is showing Supersports as being 420Rs and vice versa. That's part of the reason for my confusion. Apologies for that. So if you can see a screen, you'll probably know that the Supersports are 420Rs and the 420Rs are Supersports. So as I say, Ben Tuck then from the Supersports class, but seems to be involved in that incident at the La Source hairpin the first time. There's also a safety car at the Paul Frere curve that I can see on the closed circuit TV, but I think that might just be to sort something else out. So still running behind the safety car, 2 laps completed and 20 minutes of the race remain, and certainly this lap, and as soon as we get a shot of the La Source hairpin again, we'll be able to tell you how progress is going with being able to get this race underway again. But very unfortunate, because these cars, the 420Rs and the Supersport cars, do make some very exciting racing indeed, with the, as I said earlier on, the 2-litre Ford Duratec powered 420Rs giving you 175 brake horsepower on a car that weighs 635 kilos. So yes, it's substantially quicker than a Supersport, which only has 140 brake horsepower in a car that weighs 605 kilograms. I mean, the beauty of these Caterham Championships is that even though they are road cars, they are very, very powerful cars in very lightweight bodies. So with bespoke Bilstein race dampers, a flat shift gearbox and a chassis developed purely for racing on the 420R. And the safety car, now this is the car that stopped out at the Paul Frere curve, and that's now being given a tow back into the pit. So there were 2 separate incidents following the incident that we spoke about at La Source. Another car coming to grief halfway round the lap, also on that opening lap, now being given a tow back to the paddock by one of the circuit rescue vehicles. Now the track seems to be clear. There's a lot of cement dust down at La Source, but the cars that were off have been towed away or flatbedded away, and the car that was being towed back at that came to rest at the Paul Frere curve, that's been sorted. So I think this time we will be able to get the race back underway, or underway really, because we only race for 200 yards. But once we're able to get them around at the completion of this lap, the safety car will be able to pull off, I think, and we'll be able to get on with the race. 17 minutes of it remain, And so we'll be able to see, of course, the advantage with a safety car start is it's nose to tail rather than a standing start off the lights, and that hopefully will be a more secure start for everybody concerned. Lee Wiggins leads the way for the 420Rs. William Smith in second place, Danny Winstanley third, Andre Sinclair fourth, Anthony Barnes in fifth, and Paul Donkin sixth. Of course, the gaps between them fairly meaningless at the moment because they're circulating slowly behind the safety car. And in a moment we'll they've just gone through the second sector, and a bit of an improvement in speed in fact as the rest of the cars make their way through sector 2 past the Old University, past the karting circuit up there at the curve Paul Frere, and the safety car pulls off. The green flag is being waved. We're going to get this race underway from shore now. 16 minutes of Caterham racing for the 420R and Supersport. Lee Wiggins gets a blinder of a start, catches everybody else napping a little bit. Danny Winstanley tries to take advantage up on the inside of Will Smith, hoping that he'll get through with all that oil at the La Source hairpin. But Danny Winstanley then heading through up on the inside line and may well have managed to take second place away from William Smith. But Lee Wiggins, once he caught them all napping a little bit, but he was able to get the start going very nicely indeed. Thank you. When the green flag waved in the Supersports class, we've got Chris Hutchinson, who was on the outside of the front row of the grid, leading the way at the moment from Dan Gore, who is on pole. So those two have reversed, but are still very close together. And then Christian Charuta is from the fourth row of the grid in third place ahead of Mike Evans. And we'll see how that one pans out over the remainder of the race. Green flag then. Wiggins leads the way to the front from William Smith. Danny Winstanley then. So the order as it was as they crossed the line, but I had a feeling that the way Danny Winstanley was going, he might have made up a little bit of ground. Richard Ainscoe has made up some ground in number 58. He's in 9th place now. Stephen Nuttall is 10th. And poor old Jack Sales, didn't actually notice this, but from the front row of the grid, Jack Sales is way down in 11th place now. So whether he was part of the incident at the beginning, I don't know, but Jack Sales then, from the front of the grid all the way down in 11th, he has a lot of work to do in order to try and make up some ground in what remains of the race. As I was saying, less than 15 minutes remain now. The car's turning down through the left-hander, the double left-hander at Puhan, and then right and left through Fang they go, then past the long right-hander. There's really a double right-hander at campus or university, and then rejoining the old Blanchimont or the old circuit at the Paul Frere curve, and then through the Blanchimont left-handers. And any moment now they'll be coming into our view. Will it still be, well, it's William Smith in fact who's got himself up to the front ahead of Lee Wiggins, so changes out on the circuit during that lap, because Will Smith has got himself up into the front, and it's a fairly large margin as they turn into the they're all absolutely together, 7 cars absolutely together as they come into the chicane. They fan out, they all brake as late as they possibly can. That can't possibly work, surely, can it? Well, it can, and good driving from all of them as they safely negotiate the right and left of the chicane across the line. It's the first racing time at the end of the 4th lap, and as they go across the line, it is Will Smith who leads away. Lee Wiggins in 2nd place, Danny Winstanley 3rd, Anthony Barnes is in 4th place, Andre Sinclair gets pushed down to 5th, Paul Donkin in 6th, in 7th place, John Byrne having a good race, he's up into 7th, and then Jack Brown in 8th place. What's happening in the Supersports? They're just coming into sight now, and across the line goes Dan Gore into the lead of the Supersport. So the pole position man getting his head down and sorting out the order as it ought to be as far as he's concerned. So Dan Gore leading in the Supersports, with Chris Hutchinson in 2nd place. That's the order they were on the grid. Christian Charuta is up into 3rd place ahead of Mike Evans. He was the next one on the grid. Henry Heaton still a long way down. Who was the the other one who, looking for Jack Sales, he's down in 9th place still, so he's trying to make up ground. Meanwhile, back at the front of the grid, at the top of the Kemmel Straight, going into Les Combes, Andres Sinclair has taken the lead in the number 93 car, but there's nothing to choose at all between them. There are, 9 cars absolutely together going down through Les Combes, and if I look out of the left-hand commentary box window, going down into the long right-hander Rivage, and then through the left-hander at No Name, Rivage, call it Bruxelles, sometimes it's Rivage, sometimes it's Bruxelles, depending on which circuit map you're using, and then down into the double left-hander, that's Pouhon, and still those 10 cars absolutely together. This is classic, typical Caterham racing, absolutely nose to tail. Meanwhile, just look down to the Supersports class, it's Christian Strazuta who is in the lead of that class now, ahead of Mike Evans and Chris Hutchinson. So Chris Hutchinson, where's Dan Gore gone? He's back to 4th. So Gore was first as they crossed the line, gets to the end of the Kemmel Straight, he's 4th. So look whichever way you want, you can see cars overtaking each other, and it's great racing through the fifth pass and down into the campus and across the line. It's Sinclair from Winstanley, Anthony Barnes and John Byrne, the top 4. Lee Wiggins, he was leading the race. William Smith was leading the race. They're down in 5th and 6th places now. And Jack Sales from 11th is now up into 7th place. So Jack Sales is the man on the charge. He's 1.3 seconds behind the race leader. And he's in 7th place. Here come the leaders then into sight, and the great sight they make, 2 side by side as they come into the corner. Up on the inside, Andy's that's going to help him as one car gets his nose cone, knocks asunder, and he goes skittering across the escape road, across the gravel bed. So it's the black car, number 3, which takes the lead. John Byrne comes from absolutely nowhere, very fast up the Kemmel Straight, but he takes the lead from Andres Sinclair. Danny Winstanley still just holding position there in 3rd place. Lee Wiggins is 4th, Anthony Barnes is now 5th, William Smith 6th, Jack Sales still 6th, still 7th I should say, still 7th, and then Jack Brown is in 8th place ahead of Richard Ainscough, who's 9th, John Donkin is 10th, looking down to where, here come the Supersports there, nose to tail as well. It's still Strazuka, and is that just shaking or hand waving? I don't know. Anyway, Mike Evans, as he came past the pits, gesticulating, we'll leave it at that, and then it's ambiguous. Mike Evans then going through in number 193, in 2nd place in the Supersports class, ahead of front row man Chris Hutchinson, number 178, ahead of pole position man Dan Gore, number 20. So the 2 fastest cars in 3rd and 4th, and then Henry Heaton just about completing his recovery. He's now there in 5th place in the Supersports class, ahead of Richard Nordhoff in number 104, who is in 6th place in the Supersports class. We've got 10 minutes of this still to go, so that's still, going to be in 3 laps? We'll be able to get maybe 8 laps therefore at the end of the race. Andres Sinclair leads the way. They turn through Les Combes, heading now down to Rivage, and then the no-name left-hander. Looking out, so I can just see them going down there through the no-name corner, and then down into the left-hander at Pouhon. Long way out of sight, too really difficult to pick out who's got them. But John Byrne having a blinder of a lap on that last one. Fastest lap of the race thus far is by Matt Dyer. He's down in 12th place, but he set the fastest lap, 2:41.498 seconds, as the leaders then make their way through Fang. In fact, they're already through Fang and going through the Paul Frere curve, with John Byrne back to the lead ahead of Andres Sinclair. Danny Winstanley still 3rd, and Anthony Barnes is in 5th place. Jack Sales in 6th ahead of Jack Brown 7th. Somebody's just coming out of the pits who's had a pit call. That might have been William Smith, number 27. That car was in amongst the leaders. Yeah, he was on the start of the race on the 3rd row, wasn't amongst the leaders, but Will Smith, having had a pit stop, has now fallen all the way to the back. The leaders now coming through as an absolute train, and Danny Winstanley is right there in 2nd place behind John Byrne. He was right up underneath if Caterham had a rear wing, he was right underneath the boot lid of the Caterham ahead of him. So John Byrne leads, but Danny Winstanley right there behind behind him and getting every benefit of the slipstream. Enormous amount of slipstream created by these Caterham cars. The shape of the car just creates a huge hole in the air which the car behind can just jump into and get a massive amount of in effect extra horsepower, a bit of a tow, it just takes away all the air resistance, and so Danny Stanley using all of that as they went across the line at the completion of that lap for 6, and they're now onto their 7th lap with 7 minutes remaining. We're waiting for the Supersports to come through, and Chris Hutchinson, Dan Gore now lead the way. So Hutchinson is in the lead by half a second from Dan Gore. Second place, Sharuta in 3rd. Mike Evans 4th, Henry Heaton 5th, Richard Nordhoff in 6th. David Yates 7th, Alistair Weaver 8th, Rob Brown 9th, Gavin Crawford in 10th place. Will Smith has rejoined from the pit lane and will be coming through in a little while to complete his 6th lap. In fact, his 5th lap. The leader's already on the 7th lap of this race. Half an hour of racing and a further half hour of racing tomorrow. If you've had fun today, it all happens again tomorrow with 3 more races for each of the, well, 1 more race for each of the Caterham categories, and then there's also a 6 3/4 hour Lamera Cup race to look forward to. Leaders, meanwhile, in the 470R class. I'll just swap them round. Thank you for that, RIS. Timing, looking after us today, have now corrected the classes, so we now have the 420R class cars being shown as 420R class cars, the right way around. So the leaders coming up then, this time to complete, it will be 7 laps with 5 minutes to go, so we will get 9 laps out of the race. Get 9 laps out of the race, although there is a board being shown. That's probably the 5-minute board. It says 5 minutes on one side, last lap on the other. That's why I'm confused. The board on the side that the drivers can see, it says 5 minutes. A gaggle of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, oh, it's 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, 16 cars going through as one, nose to tail. This county 15 cars go through as one, nose to tail. Paul Browse is the best of the rest in 16th place, so absolutely together those 15 that went through. But Danny Stanley, with what is in effect going to be 2 laps to go, is in the wrong place because he leads, and anybody who's watched Caterham racing will know you don't want to be leading the race. However, to be leading the race with 2 laps to go maybe isn't such a bad thing, because then you can dictate the pace a little bit. So John Burns in 2nd place behind Danny Stanley, Lee Wiggins is 3rd, and there are enough overtaking places around the Spa-Francorchamps circuit that obviously the best place is into the chicane for the last time, but even that move you have to make sure that you're on the right line and that you don't leave a gap that somebody else is going to be able to leap into. Once you come out of the chicane, it's a dash to the cash, to the checkered flag, and the checkered flag is not so very far down the start-finish straight, so you don't have much time to make your move coming out of the chicane. You need to make your move as you go through the chicane, and in order to line yourself up for the chicane, you really need to have sorted out what you're going to do as you come through the Blanchimont left-handers, which means that the key point is how you go into the campus Paul Frere curve, double right-hander. That's where the race kind of gets dictated and where they finish up. New fastest lap of the race, no, it's still Matt Dyer in fact, isn't it? 241.498. Best of the rest actually on that last lap, a 243.0, 242.7 for Stephen Nuttall. So the lead cars, not the fastest ones out there. Chris Sharuta now leads the Supersports. Dan Gore in 2nd place, Mike Evans 3rd, Chris Hutchinson 4th, Henry Heaton 5th. Still Richard Nordhoff in 6th. I think Richard Nordhoff's actually been in 6th place throughout the whole of this race. Everyone else has kind of gone before and behind him, but Richard Nordhoff then in 6th. But Sharuta leading for the first time in car number 2. Christian currently 5th in the championship, ahead of Chris Hutchinson as well, as Number 26 goes through at the back of the field, waiting then for the leaders. Here they come into the chicane once again. Oh, no, this is the stragglers. Yes, they've got a straggler, one straggler up ahead of them, and then the 15 cars that are battling this one out. So this is going to be the start of the last lap now, and across the line it is still Danny Winstanley at the front. John Byrne makes a dive for the inside line as they go up towards the La Source hairpin. Lee Wiggins has already made his move and has dived up past Andre Sinclair. So Wiggins is third, Sinclair is fourth, Anthony Barnes fifth. Jack Sales still going strongly in sixth place. I thought he would be further back than that, but he's in that train in sixth place. Luke Stevens seventh, Stephen Nuttall eighth, Richard Ainscoe ninth, Paul Donkin 10th, Matt Dyer in 11th place. Just to round out that 15-car battle, Jack Brown is 12th, Justin Armstrong is 13th, Elliot Norris is 14th, and Damien Milkins is 15th. But then there's a gap. A big gap, well, 5 seconds of a gap. Christopher Wright is 77, he's in 16th place, and then Wes Fox in number 10 is in 17th place. Now, this is where it then turns from being a motor race into a chess game, because now everybody's playing, oh no, after you go first. So Danny Winstanley, they get to the end of the Kemmel Straight, drops back to second. Andre Sinclair takes over in the lead of the race. John Byrne is third, Lee Wiggins fourth. So through Lacoon, down the hill, Rivage, long right-hander, hug the inside curve, then let the car just drift away, then back to the left to that no-name left-hander, and then a double left at Pouhon. Absolutely essential to get fast, smooth, get those two apexes that comprise the Pouhon double left-hander. Then hard onto the brakes again, downhill all the time, towards Fan, right, back to the left again, and then they come down towards Campus, turn 14, and then that's where we get the second intermediate time, and that's where we can start to see, work out how that chess game is going to play out up to the line for the last time. It was Sinclair, Winstanley, Byrne and Wiggins the top four, Barnes in fifth. We're waiting for the time to come up now. The closed circuit screen shows us the very exciting exit to Radillon. And it's still Sinclair, Winstanley, Byrne, Wiggins the top four. Luke Stevens comes up to fifth, Jack Sales up to sixth, Anthony Barnes loses out in seventh. That's not a good time to be losing out. And so we're out of the Paul Frere curve, and now absolutely flat out. This will be nose to tail stuff as they go through the Blanchimont curve. Then onto the brakes, here they come into the chicane for the final time. The checkered flag is being prepared now. Who's it going to go to? Danny Winstanley is there or thereabouts. He holds the line a little bit tighter on the outside line. It's nose to tail, not quite side to side, nose to tail across the line. Andre Sinclair manages to hang on and takes the win. Fantastic stuff from Andre Sinclair. Number 93, Danny Winstanley thought about it. He moved out of the slipstream, moved to the left, then slotted back into the slipstream and just decided to maintain that second place. So Danny Winstanley comes second. John Byrne watched it all, grandstand seat, third place. He couldn't improve on his position. Lee Wiggins either. He was in fourth. In fifth place was Luke Stevens. Sixth was Anthony Barnes. In seventh place, actually before we do seventh place, let's have a look at what's going to happen in the Supersports class, because they're coming up to the checkered flag now. Actually, they've fallen a little bit further behind, haven't they? So any moment now we'll see what's going to happen in the Supersports class. Looking out to my left. So yes, it was Stephen Nuttall in seventh, Jack Sales finishing eighth, disappointing for him, having started the race on the front row. In ninth place was Richard Ainscoe, and in 10th Paul Donkin. Here comes the Supersports battle now into the chicane for the last time. Dan Gore, Henry Heaton has got himself right up there as well in car number 110, and as they turn right and left again, who's it going to be across the checkered flag? It's nose to tail again as they came out of the chicane, but nobody's going to be able to jump out of the slipstream, are they? It's going to be nose to tail across the line again, as across the line then comes Henry Heaton. Fantastic win then for Henry. I think that's the first time he's led the race when the checkered flag was being waved, so there's a time to lead is when the checkered flag's being waved, and that's exactly what Henry Heaton did. So congratulations to Henry. He takes the checkered flag and the win by 0.2 of a second, 0.25 of a second from Mike Evans, who finishes in second place, Chris Hutchinson in third, Dan Gore fourth, Richard Nordhoff finishing in fifth place, Alistair Weaver sixth, David Yates seventh, What happened to Christian Charuta? Made a mistake somewhere, finishes in 8th place in the class, Rob Brown in 9th, and Gavin Crawford finishing up in 10th place in the Supersports class. But yeah, disappointing there for Christian Charuta. He led, but a great race from Henry Eaton, so he will take maximum points. And with Ben Tuck not finishing at all, Tim Dickens, I don't remember mentioning his name at all in that race either. I think he must have fallen out. He didn't fall out in the initial incident, but he fell back at some point because he doesn't feature at all in the top 20 of the places there. Let's just have a look on this screen where Tim Dickens, yes, he came into the pits at the end of the second lap and wasn't seen again, so not good points for Tim Dickens, not good points for Ben Tuck. So Mike Evans and Henry Heaton really did make a little bit of ground in terms of championship points there, with Christian Charuta only finishing in 7th place. 8th place, beg your pardon. So Christian Charuta finishing in 8th place in the class. He won't score many points either, so Henry Heaton and Mike Evans will be very happy indeed with their result. But up at the sharp end of the field, the 420Rs, a fantastic result there. Andre Sinclair, I certainly wouldn't have bet that he was able to hold on, but he certainly did. Set his fastest lap on the last lap of the race. Wasn't as quick as Matt Dyer had said earlier on, so the fastest lap of the race, for which there is a trophy. Matt Dyer gets that one, 2 minutes 41.498 for Matt halfway through